Today we're going to see how Cthulhu we can get. Do you need a monster that's just going to really scare your players and just really mess with them and never make them trust you again? Well, if you do, oh boy, do I have the one for you. I first encountered the Oblex, this beautiful monster from Munchkins and Foes, when I was looking for something for my Acquisitions Incorporated campaign. Now, in that campaign, there was this whole Oblex Zargon plotline because I love Elder Evils. But I wanted a monster that was really cool, and Oblex being the kind of the dude that's in charge of all the oozes, you know, Oblex. Now, yes, I know Oblexes aren't directly oozy. So let's talk about what they actually are. So, Mind Flayers, you know, the mini walking Cthulhus, basically saw oozes in the Underdark and they were like, that was cool, but what if it was terrifyinger? More terrifying. I'm going with terrifyinger. So, they made the Oblex. Oblex? Someone's gonna correct me. I'm going with Oblex. It sounds cooler. It's like Jublex sounds cooler than Dweeblex, but that's a different story. But the Oblex, I forgot what I said was cooler. Oblex feeds off of people's memories. It eats their thoughts, and it uses the thoughts of the people to get stronger. The smarter the person was, the better for the Oblex. So it's not going to eat your barbarian if it can. It's going to try to chew on that nice squishy wizard. Now, let's get to the part that's going to make your party never trust you again, because that's what we're here for. The Oblex. When it eats you, the person, it creates another Oblex, and that will eventually morph into a bigger version. But it lacks an ability that the bigger ones have, where it can create a perfect image that's indistinguishable from the person that they ate. Looks exactly like them, has their memories, because it ate the memories, and knows everything about them. So this makes an incredibly powerful villain that can impersonate people that are very near and dear to the party and can make them never trust you again because their friends are now inside of a big jelly, but it looks like they're friends. So that's cool. The little ones don't have that ability at first. It takes time for them to feed off of memories and get it. But the bigger ones do, and it can use it to serve whatever Dark Master you want. In my case, these Oblexes were reclaimed by Oblex. Let's talk about the actual stat block of them. We'll go through each of them really quick. So as you can see on your screen, the base Oblex spawn is relatively similar to an ooze without too many distinguishing abilities. However, as it gets older, the adult Oblex, gains the Eat Memories ability, which is really what ties the whole thing together, where it deals psychic damage to the PCs, gives them disadvantages on this failed wisdom save, and can eventually kill them, eventually becoming consumed by this thing if it is not destroyed. The Elder Oblex only gets better. Not only does it get a more powerful consuming memory ability, but it gets more powerful spells. Now, the Oblex in and of itself is not that hard of a monster for a mid-level party to take down. I think, I'm bad at math, probably around level 5, level 6, you could throw this at your PCs and it wouldn't be the end of the world. That could be an incredibly wrong statement, but it's what I'm going with right now, at least if your PC's power game like mine. But there is something here for us, even if it might not be the most challenging fight. In previous videos, I've talked about GMs needing to think like game designers. We need to make interesting encounters, and the encounter doesn't necessarily just have to be combat. It could be everything leading up to the combat. The people that made the Oblex, the Mind Flayers, is an excellent example of this. A Mind Flayer can be relatively easy to take down in a fight, especially if it doesn't have any minions, but leading up to it, showing these nulls around this lair, showing the effects of the Mind Flayer, makes it an interesting fight. So we can do the same thing with the Oblex. We can put it in a town, something the PCs are attached to, have it eat someone the PCs are attached to, take that memory, and then continue to use it against the PCs. I would almost certainly try to tie this into an overarching plot line that's been going on with the Oblex, using this to serve a different source which is controlling it, whether that's Dweeblex or the Evil King or the Evil Dragon. Have it doing something that affects the overarching plot of your story, so that when the PCs do fight it, it is a rewarding fight in and of itself, regardless of how the actual combat goes. Not that it's an uninteresting monster, but the parts leading up to the combat are what makes the Oblex cool. The fact that it can mess with your PC's heads, it can learn valuable information about them, and it can tear the party apart from the inside. Bonus points if you kill a PC. I'm not encouraging you to kill a PC, but if you do kill a PC with one, and you're able to work it out with that PC, that they keep doing something with their character within the party, and it is actually the Oblex learning. Don't kill your PCs, but that's cool. So just really try to make these encounters interesting. Build up the environment around the fight, which there will be more videos on coming shortly. But building up the environment around the Oblex, building up who it interacts with, is what makes it a cool fight, and you can apply that to any fight that you want to. Mind Flayers we already talked about. What about vampires? Such a classic monster. In the original Bram Stoker novel, the actual fight with Dracula, while impactful, isn't what made that novel cool. It was everything leading up to it. The interactions with it, Mina getting bitten, the main character having to deal with the consequences of dealing with Dracula. Do something like that for your PCs. They will thank you for it in the long run when they're done not trusting you anymore. And you can do the same thing with vampires in D&D, taking that classic idea of the vampire affecting this town and having your PCs have to figure out what's going on and deal with it. Another thing that I think is overlooked is the Nabasu from D&D in Mordenkainen and Stromaphos. Now, not only are Nabasus the nasty type of demon that are going to eat their demon kin, but they're also demonic infiltrators. When a demon gets summoned from the abyss, the Nabasu tries to get through and control the summoner. It will immediately try to break free unless the summoner provides it with a steady supply of souls. It would be a really cool plot arc if there's like a city owned by a wizard who accidentally tries to summon something and a Nabasu breaks through. And now, in order to avoid public shame and his town being eaten by said Nabasu, he needs to slowly feed it a steady supply of souls, and that can be something that's very interesting for the PCs to work out. These environmental factors that affect the land. It's a similar way the way I like to run Krakens, playing them as like a force of nature, affecting the coastlines, ravaging villages, having cults rise up in their name, affecting the environment around the PCs. I hope this video gave you some ideas about how to run monsters, not just in the actual fight themselves, but how to make everything around them fun, dangerous, and, as always, untrusting. If you'd like to support the channel, please follow the applicable links in the description down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and if you feel so inclined and generous, hit the little bell button. You have all been wonderful, and I've been Jake from Monsters and Munchkins. Until I see you again, don't forget to have fun and roll some dice.